the European Union very early. But when you talk about mortality rates, I think it's the opposite. I think we have one of the lowest mortality rates in the world. Well, we're going to take a look.
We had 900 deaths on a single day.
We will take a look.
This week.
Ready?
You can check it out.
Could you please get me the mortality rate?
Yeah.
Kaylee's right here. I heard we had one of the lowest, maybe the lowest mortality rate anywhere in the world. Do you have the numbers, please? Because I heard we had the best mortality rate.
The case rate of similarly situated countries, as Dr. Burks points out, and this is
number one low mortality rate. I hope you show this in here because it shows what fake news is all about.
Okay,
go
I don't
ahead.
think I'm fake news, but we'll put we'll put our stats on.
You said we had the worst mortality rate in the world, and we have the best.
All right, it's a little complicated, but bear with us. We went with numbers from Johns Hopkins University, which charted the mortality rate for 20 countries hit by the virus. The U.S. ranked 7th, better than the United Kingdom, but worse than Brazil and Russia. The White House went with this chart from the European CDC, which shows Italy and Spain doing worse, but countries like Brazil and South Korea doing better. Other countries doing better, like Russia, aren't included in the White House chart.
California. Locking
numbers. The numbers are through the roof. The Democrats are purposely keeping their schools closed, keeping their states closed. I called Michigan. I want to have a big rally in Michigan. Do you know we're not allowed to have a rally in Michigan? Do you know we're not allowed to have a rally in Minnesota? Do you know we're not allowed to have a rally in Nevada? We're not allowed to have rallies in these Democrat-run states.
Wait a minute. Some people would say that it's a health risk.
Some people would say fine. But I guarantee
we had some issues after Tulsa.
If everything was gone 100%, they still wouldn't allow it. They're not allowing me to do it. So they're not allowing me to have rallies.
But I got to tell you,
and I'll do it a different time. We'll call. Religion will be gone. Okay. Life, you could forget about that. The whole question of life. Supreme Court.
When you say life, you mean abortion?
Absolutely. 100%. That whole question, which is a very, it's always been a 50-50 thing. It's actually trending a little bit more toward one
when
side.
When you say religion is going to be gone, what does that mean?
Look at what they're doing to the churches. They won't let the churches even open if they want to stand in a field 6 feet apart. We've had churches that wanted to stand in fields 6 feet apart. Excuse the numbers.
I'm going to do you a favor, because I'm sure a lot of people listening right now are going to say, Trump, he tries to play it down. He tries to make it not seem as serious as it is.
No, this is very serious.
75,000 cases a day.
Show me the death chart.
Well, I don't have the death chart.
Well, the death chart is much more important.
I can tell you, the death chart is 1,000 cases a day.
Excuse me. It's all too much. It shouldn't be one case. It came from China. They should have never let it escape. They should have never let it out. But it is what it is. Take a look at Europe. Take a look at the numbers in Europe. And by the way, they're having surges.
Are 6,000 in the whole European Union.
They don't test. They don't test like we test.
Is it possible that they don't have the virus as badly as we do?
No, it's possible that they don't test. That's what's possible. We find cases, and many of those cases heal automatically. We're finding, in a way, we're creating trouble. Certainly we're creating trouble for the fake news to come along and say, oh, we have more cases. Look, we did something that nobody's ever done. Not only the ventilators, where we're supplying them all over the world. We did a testing program, the likes of which nobody's ever done before.
The head of the CDC, Dr. Redfield. Mr. President, you'll be happy to know that Fox News has a new poll out today, and you're going to be the very first person to hear about it. In the national horse race, Joe Biden leads you by 8 points, 49% to 41. That's, I think, 3-4 points slimmer than it was a month ago. And on the issues, people trust Biden more to handle the coronavirus by 17 points, on race relations by 21 points, and even on the economy, they trust Biden more by 1 point. I understand we still have more than 100 days to this election, but at this point, you're losing.
First of all, I'm not losing, because those are fake polls. They were fake in 2016, and now they're even more fake. The polls were much worse in 2016. They interviewed 22% Republican. Well, how do you do 22% Republican? You see what's going on. I have other polls that put me leading, and we have polls where I'm leading. I have a poll where we're leading in every swing state in history.
I want to talk to you about Obamacare. Since the pandemic hit, millions of people have lost their jobs and thereby lost their health insurance, and almost 500,000 have signed up for Obamacare. Your administration just announced that you're signing on to a lawsuit to overturn Obamacare.
And replace it.
why does it make sense to overturn Obamacare, with which people now are relying on? Democrats are going to say the man who's wanted to kill Obamacare is going to take away the protection for pre-existing conditions.
First of all, we got rid of the individual mandate. Pre-existing conditions will always be taken care of by me and Republicans, 100%.
But you've been in office 3.5 years. You don't have a plan.
Well, we haven't had. Excuse me. You heard me yesterday. We're signing a health care plan within 2 weeks, a full and complete health care plan that the Supreme Court decision on DACA gave me the right to do. So we're going to sign an immigration plan, a health care plan, and various other plans. And nobody will have done what I'm doing in the next 4 weeks. The Supreme Court gave the President of the United States powers that nobody thought the President had by doing what they did, their decision on DACA. And DACA is going to be taken care of also. But we're getting rid of it because we're going to replace it with something much better. But we got rid of already, which was most of Obamacare, the individual mandate. And that I've already won on. And we won also on the Supreme Court. But the decision by the Supreme Court on DACA allows me to do things on immigration, on health care, on other things that we've never done before. And you're going to find it to be a very exciting 2 weeks.
Cancel culture. The National Defense Authorization Act, the NDAA, you have threatened to veto it because in the bill, and this is supported by Republicans as well as Democrats, it would rename Army bases named for Confederate generals. Now, this is a bill that funds military operations. It gives soldiers a pay raise.
Yeah.
You're going to veto that?
Because they'll get their pay raise. Hey, look, don't tell me this. I got soldiers the biggest pay raises in the history of our military. I got soldiers brand new equipment, brand new jets, brand new rockets, brand new $2.5 trillion. I did more for the military than any president that's ever had this
office. But you're going to veto this
because
bill?
I think that Fort Bragg, Fort Robert E. Lee, all of these forts that have been named that way for a long time, decades and decades.
But the military says they're for this.
Excuse me. I don't care what the military says. I'm supposed to make the decision. Fort Bragg is a big deal. We won 2 world wars. Nobody even knows General Bragg. We won 2 world wars. Go to that community where Fort Bragg is in a great state. I love that state. Go to the community. Say, how do you like the idea of renaming Fort Bragg? And then what are we going to name it? You going to name it after the Reverend Al Sharpton? What are you going to name it, Chris? Tell me what you're going to name it. So there's a whole thing here. We won 2 world wars. 2 world wars, beautiful world wars that were vicious and horrible, and we won them out of Fort Bragg. We won out of all of these forts that now they want to throw those names away. And no, I'm against that. And you know what? Most other people are. And I don't believe in polls because I see the fakest polls I've ever seen. But that poll is a 64% thing, which actually surprised me. We won world wars out of these military bases. No, I'm not going to go changing them. I'm not going to go changing them.
So you'll veto?
I might. Yeah, I might.
At Mount Rushmore.